Hi, it's Coach Jeff. It is Monday, May 24th, about 1:30 in the afternoon. I doing my check-in. I wanted to let everybody know. Super interesting evening. I had a panic attack at about 11 o'clock last night, ish, 11 something, 11:30, and blood pressure all over the crazy place, heart rate racing, couldn't catch my breath, feeling of just impending doom and but no pain. So I'm blessed because my parents live directly next door, and I went to my parents' house and got the heart rate monitor or the blood pressure machine, and my blood pressure was pretty bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't horrible, so I knew I was okay. And I just didn't, I assumed that I was having a panic attack, but I was like, I don't know how to not have this panic attack. I've had one before, and that was, I think, 10 years ago maybe, and ended up in the hospital emergency room. The ambulance had to come and get me. So I think, today I did the stuff I could do, which is I made an appointment to see a cardiologist, which I've been putting off for 2 years. But really, when I got the diagnosis of having chronic kidney disease, and then I went last week and they said my numbers were lower, but I was in better shape. I had lost some weight, and having had COVID and this weird chest thing going on, and my cramps still in my my calf and my left leg, just weird. And it just came to a head. I got in a conflict with my wife, and really she pointed out a lot of things that I was getting caught up with no boundaries. I was getting caught up in helping everybody at the expense of my family. And so I'm not going to do that. And I was so grateful that I wasn't grateful how she did it, but I was grateful that she brought that to my attention, because I do not want to go back there. I just picked up my daughter from school, and I reached out to her and I explained, because last night at 3 a.m, she had woken up or whatever, and I was in there just kissing her in case I didn't wake up. Like, that was honestly, those are my thoughts. And so I just told her, hey, keep me in your prayers. I'm not feeling so good. And the same with my son. And so this morning, today when I picked her up from school, I just stayed open with her, because I don't want everybody struggles. Even though, when I went to my parents' house, they prayed with me. I didn't even remember to pray right away, because I was so wrapped up in fear. And, my dad asked me, how come it took you so long or how come it took you so long to remember to pray? And I was like, I don't know. So me feeling closer to God just doesn't mean that I'm immune. It doesn't mean I am as close as I can be. And I don't want to rest on that. I don't want to have these again. This is scary. And I felt very grateful to my parents for praying with me and for me. I felt very grateful that by the time I got home, my blood pressure and all that stuff was a little bit high, but it was pretty much normal. And then, my sleep was, every time I wake up, my brain instantly started going. But, my blood pressure and everything today was better than it has been when I went to the doctors. So as you can hear, it's also one of the reasons I'm having a hard time really catching my breath. My nose is completely clogged up, and it's really bad pollen and 100% humidity in Michigan. So, and I might be having like a little chest thing, because everything else was great. So just because I'm working on being spiritual and I'm better than I was, I'm not free from the world. I'm not free from anxiety. I'm not free from fears. And, I will say I didn't have, even thinking about, well, if, this happens and blah, blah, my regrets were stuff that I couldn't do, that I'm not powerful over. My regrets would be like if I can't see my kids graduate or dance with both of them at their wedding. And my son, he knows it's going to happen. I might not see my grandkids and have more great times with my wife and my family. And so whatever, this was a good reset of refocus to, it's great that I'm being of use to God. God is using me. Partly to fill my vessel up so he can pour it out is boundaries. When I'm helping people, it's not at the expense of my family. So boundaries are huge for me. I'm working on, and staying open. Staying open with my thoughts that, well, I'm probably going to die. This is it. Especially since COVID, I've really struggled with, it probably damaged my heart, and it probably did this, and my blood pressure gets a little higher, and I went to the kidney doctor, and he's like, well, you went from 64 to 61%, but it's no big deal. And I'm like, okay, that seems like a big deal. It doesn't seem good. And partially because I don't feel well, it means more. But in that tone, I think partially the reason why I don't feel very well is because I'm not right sized. I'm not keeping things in perspective and priorities. So I love that I'm able to help. I love that, I'm there for people. But my identity is me being a father, being a Christian, but being a father, a husband, then coach, and not any other way around. And that's after being a son too. So, I just wanted to check in. I wanted to get that off my chest, and I reached out to one of my friends who also struggles, and I let them know, people who help folks still need help. Pardon me. And I think one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to look into getting back to going to therapy even once a month. I loved going to therapy. I love working on my issues that way. It really helps me, and it keeps things right size. So thank you. Make today a great day. Appreciate what we have. If nobody tells you, I care about you.